Hi, I'm Joe Jacobson at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome along to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show as we get very close to Christmas. It's the last one before Christmas, in fact. That's how close we are, not far away from the Boxing Day fixture at all. In the next hour, we'll look ahead to that game, the visit of Bristol Rovers to Adams Park. We'll look back at another game, which was Adams Park as well, when the then league leaders, Ipswich Town, came and went away with nothing. In fact, the home side got a 1-0 win, which was fantastic. We'll hear from Phil as well. Sound effects provided by Luke. More on that in a second. But also, we'll have our match debrief with the Wycombe Wanderers head of audio and broadcast, host of top podcast Ringing the Blues, and of course our match commentator as well. They're all one person, you know. We'll also hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth, get his post-match thoughts, and goal scorer Brandon Hanlon as well. That's a lot to pack in from just the one game, isn't it? All that's on the way as well. Plus, we'll hear from the manager a little later on as well, previewing the Boxing Day clash, and we'll have a Christmas message from him as well, as you'd expect at this time of year. We'll catch up with someone who's made over 300 appearances for the club. That's Barry Baker. He is a former midfielder as well. We'll be getting his thoughts as we catch up with him from his home in Bray, near Maidenhead. Won't give his full address, but that's on the way a little later on as well. And we'll find out more about the recently rebranded Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, formerly the Wycombe Wanderers Sport and Education Trust. We'll hear from Mark and Kirk as well in the next hour. Lots to bring you as well, but first we start with some highlights from Saturday.
Right, we are underway then, under the lights in snowy Buckinghamshire. Wycombe Wanderers taking on Ipswich, and Ipswich launch the first attack down their left-hand side. Here's McCleary. Can he crack the defence? Lolls it back and he finds McCarthy steaming in. McCarthy! Shot charged down. Wing heads it goalwards, tries to lob it over Walton. He's a tall keeper and he's well positioned, but Wycombe Wanderers with their first real attack there. Long clearance from Ipswich to Alfie Mawson. Mawson just steps aside from Chaplin, feeds it into McCleary, lets it run to Abita, brilliantly Abita into the box and then slid in by Hanlon on target, saved by Walton, but decent move by Wycombe. And lovely bit of brain work there by McCleary. Just stepped over the ball, didn't he? Made the space.
That's class, yeah. You see GMAC just sort of take the sting out of the defender by letting it run to Geordie, and where the space is, great ball across the box. Always going to be a tricky one for Brandon from there, but he did well to direct it on target.
Well, ball headed forwards onto the chest of the Dapo. Wheeler gets the ball back for Wycombe, finds Wing. Lovely little pass to Wheeler from Wing. Then on to Hanlon. Hanlon's done well. He's bullied Davis. He's still going now. Humphries. He's still going. Oh, what a goal! What's a goal by Brandon Hanlon? It's a trademark effort from Hanlon. It was all upper body strength and trickery. He brushed aside Humphries and he looked up and drew the keeper and flipped it over his shoulder. And that is a wonderful goal. And that will warm you up. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Ipswich 0.
Brandon Hanlon, you absolute beauty. Like you say, Phil, it's typical Brandon Hanlon. The pace, the power, the trickery in and around the box, and then the composure to slot it past Walton was second to none. And then Chairboys lead 1-0. What a goal.
Mametti with a great tackle in midfield. Now he goes on a run, Mametti. Runs into Humphries though, but he drops to Wing. That's a superb ball to McCleary. First time, McCleary, left-footed. Onto his right, goes for goal. It's deflected, charged down from the keeper. Big shout to Edmondson. Gets the ball. He's then tripped over by Anis Mametti, and that's a yellow card for the young Albanian. Up against Edmondson. Goes on to his left. Crosses charged down by Edmondson, but hasn't gone out. It's well defended by Evans. It's a poor clearance. McCleary! Right-footed shot on the half volley, always rising. Got underneath the spin of the ball. Gareth Ainsworth claiming it's not 5 minutes yet. It is now.
It is.
Wycombe Wanderers have beaten top of the table Ipswich Town, who've lost for only the third time so far this season. A goal from Brandon Hanlon in the 39th minute was enough to get Wycombe Wanderers to 3 points. Right then, we'll leave you with the full-time score here at Adams Park. Wycombe Wanderers 1, top of the table Ipswich Town 0.
A famous result at Adams Park. Phil bringing you the match commentary with summarising, excellently brought to you by Jasper Pattenden, who's only 20. That'll make you feel old, won't it? And I'm very pleased to say we can hear from Phil now, reflecting on, as I say, what could be a fantastic win at Adams Park come the end of the season.
Yeah, brilliant performance, both on and off the pitch, because it was incredibly challenging off the pitch as well with the thaw. There were burst pipes happening all around the ground, etc. Toilets frozen when everyone arrived first thing on Boxing Day. In fact, I don't think the temperature got above zero from the Sunday night before the game. until probably as we got nearer to kickoff. So huge effort off the pitch as well in what was incredibly testing conditions to get the game on. Credit to the ground staff as well. And then let's not forget the team who on the pitch delivered against top of the table, as was Ipswich. Who've only lost, that was only their third defeat in the league of the season. So I think a real benchmark victory for Wycombe Wanderers on Saturday against Ipswich, and hopefully kick-starts us into a busy Christmas period.
Because you imagine as well that would be a result and a performance that we'll look back on maybe at the end of the season, or indeed perhaps sooner, and think that was quite important.
Yeah, or it could spell a disastrous spell for Ipswich maybe, and they never win again. We'll never know. We'll find out in a few weeks. I don't think that will happen. I think they're a good side, but I think Wycombe had their game plan down brilliantly, and it was the Wycombe of old. It was that kind of let's nick a goal and then really dig in the second half and be difficult to break down. And as fluent and brilliant as Ipswich have been this season, Max Striek, bar one really excellent save in injury time in the second half, I don't think was overly stretched at all. He's got excellent positional sense, which helps. So he's always stood in the right place, which makes it look a lot easier than I think it actually is. But yeah, he wasn't really stretched at all until very, very late on in the game. That would have disappointed the Ipswich Town fans who travelled en masse. But it delighted the Wycombe fans, I think, who were treated to a Wycombe performance of old, full of desire, hard work. Big shout out to Jack Grimmer, who shifted across from right back in good form there into centre back because Ryan Tafazoli was ill. But yeah, he was superb. I thought, from 1 to 11, Wycombe saw out the game plan brilliantly. And Gareth Ainsworth and Richard Dobson had the plan, and it was put out to perfection. And Gareth was very happy afterwards when I spoke to him.
Yeah, delighted, really, really pleased with the boys' performance. I've always said that I can only put the plan in place and ask them to do it, and they've got to go, the buy-in that they give me is phenomenal. When they go out there, the work rate, the way they soak up pressure sometimes, and then individual brilliance to win games. The boys deserve that win today. They were fantastic, and hopefully every one of them will get the credit they deserve.
That was a gritty performance in the second half as well, and all the hallmarks of Wycombe of old.
All the hallmarks of MK Don's second leg away from home, wasn't it? Especially in front of the Ipswich fans there. They weren't going to concede. They really weren't. Ipswich are a huge, huge club. They brought loads of fans, loads of staff. Their equipment was strewn down the corridors of the changing rooms, and even some of their players were stretching in the corridors. I think they brought so many players they couldn't all fit in the dressing room. And my boys were stepping over them, in before the game. So it was almost like my boys were like, "What's going on here? This is Wycombe. This is us." And I think if they were determined not to lose the game today, really were. They had the bit between their teeth all week. We haven't really been able to train. We're training in the snow one day. We did a session in the snow because I wanted to get my shape into the boys and tell them exactly what we were going to do, because Ipswich play a really tough shape to contend with. They really do, and Kieran changed it second half. So again, I had to counter that, changing the game to put them to hopefully to just restrict the chances and the possession, the shots that they had. They had plenty of possession. But as I've always said, possession doesn't win games. It's what you do with the ball, and it's a real big win for us. And it's Ipswich Town coming to Wycombe Wanderers. It's huge. They're a brilliant club. They're a massive club. Their fans were great. They travel in numbers, and it was something that we talked about before the game. Use that as an inspiration. Use that as, I'm a professional footballer going out to play in front of 7,000 people. I don't care what fans they are. That's great. Who wants to do that on a Saturday? People give the right arms to that. And so I told the boys, use it as an inspiration. And actually the Wycombe fans had opportunities to outsing the Ipswich fans because of the way the game went. And I was really proud of everyone. And it's a nice Christmas present early on for most Wycombe fans today.
Very solid defensive display from 1 to 11. Max Striek, positional sense excellent. Didn't have to do anything spectacular until very, very last knockings.
One save, yeah, where the ball went into the ground and then nearly did him, and it would have been very almost Cheltenham away deflection, But he had to be there, and his athleticism got up, tipped it over the post, and 3 clean sheets in a row now for Max, which is brilliant. Really pleased with him. But you got Alfie Mawson leading that group at the back there. He's inspiration to everyone, and he loves being here. It's just Dominic Gape coming back on, real big positive for us. Players coming back. Curtis Thompson was training this week. Chris Farino trained this week. So Ryan Tafazoli was ill, as Sully Kaikai was, and but I'm looking at the squad going, wow, this is going to get tough for me now because they've got so many good players. Wycombe are still in this. I really, really mean that, and saying we're still in it with, I don't know, 20 odd games to go. So it's a real pleasure to manage the team. Really proud of the boys together, the efforts, because Ipswich are going to be there. If you finish above Ipswich this year, you're going up. That's what I think. So to beat Ipswich at home was a big win for us.
You mentioned the testing conditions because of the snow and the ice, but a bit of illness around as well, and no Tafazoli today.
Yeah, illness and Taff and Sully and TJ, and Anis was ill actually. He'd gone through the antibiotic barrier, I think, to play for me. But it's that time of year, I think there's a lot of coughs and splutters around, but the boys have adapted really well to training this week, really, really well. And can I just say that it's not just the boys and me, can I say to all the stewards and all the volunteers who come and clear the car park and clear the snow off the dugouts and everything that they've done, and the ground staff, thank you for getting this game on today, because if you hadn't got it on, we wouldn't have this feeling right now. And so everyone's played their part. Fans, everyone's just been in the bar. It's packed, and that's great. It's Wycombe Wanderers, We're not an Ipswich where we think we deserve to be in, or we aspire to be back in the Premier League. We know where we are, but if we can contend again for that championship, it'd be something really special. And at the moment, it's going okay.
You just stuck your head around the door of the bar. Was that the perfect Christmas present for those Wycombe Wanderers fans in there?
I hope so. They sang my name, and which was really nice. I think 6 weeks ago they were probably a bit more reluctant to sing my name, but please stay with me, because I've been in this a long time. It takes time and losing all those big names we had last season, and then the injuries we had at the start of the season, and the transition in the style of play. It all took time, and I'm safe to say that we're nowhere near the finished article. We're not this brilliant team yet, but we scrap and we fight and we get points, and today's a nice day.
Great to hear from the manager, and I think something that really stood out there as well was him saying about how the team soaked up the pressure well, and that must have been something that stood out for yourself as well.
Yeah, because like I just said, it wasn't really this isn't any old team. This is a team who had just gone top and were doing very well, and they've got injury problems, of course, but with their bigger budget and stuff, they've got almost an embarrassment of riches across the squad. They've got good depth, really good players. They brought on some excellent players off the bench. Their bench was very strong as well. So yeah, I think defensively Wycombe was spot on that day, and the game plan worked really, really well. So yeah, more of the same, hopefully, and the spirit seems to have really kind of risen to the top again. I think we missed, as we've said many, many times this season, we've missed Bayo, we've missed Stocko, we've missed Anthony Stewart defensively at times. But I think now the players, we're seeing those generals and those leaders really sort of rising to the top now. Your Jack Grimmer, Alfie Mawson, especially, I think, have really kind of shown that spirit. And I don't know if we've probably all seen the clip of the Wycombe players giving their appreciation to the travelling Ipswich fans on the full-time whistle as well, and that was full of passion and spirit as well, which was good. Great to see Brandon Hanlon get off the mark as well after what's been an injury hit campaign for him. His first goal since February, and really good timing as well, because he's probably got up to proper match fitness now after that long injury. A trademark goal from him, and it's up against his former club Bristol Rovers on Boxing Day, and it was good to speak to Brandon after the Ipswich game as well.
I'm buzzing to be out there again. It's nice to start, and obviously I'm buzzing to score and win. Do you know what I mean? But it was a good game for us. The boys grafted hard, and you could see it on the pitch. It was a long 90 minutes, but to win 1-0 against top of the league, it's a big achievement, to be fair.
When you come back from an injury, all that hard work in the gym, etc., it must be that feeling when the ball hits the back of the net that really drives you on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I haven't scored in ages. Even when I was celebrating, I didn't really know what to do. That's how long I haven't scored. But I was just buzzing to score, and it was nice to win as well.
An important goal, yeah, in a 1-0 win, of course, but it was a classic Brandon Hanlon goal, wasn't it? Because it was the upper body strength for the turn, but then skipped away from one and then a calm finish.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when the balls come to me, I'm an attacker, so I just forward thinking. And as I was driving into the box, space opened up for me, and I managed to get past the keeper as well.
It was a big defensive display from everyone as well, not just the keeper in the back four, the whole team, because Ipswich have only lost twice before today, so it was always going to be a test.
Yeah, I mean, I may have scored, but I mean, the whole 11 grafted so hard. Max with a massive save at the end. The back four, obviously, clean sheet too, and in the middle. Yeah, it was a big performance from the boys.
Gareth Ainsworth has been saying this all season. When the injured players come back, Wycombe Wanderers are going to have a fantastic second half of the season. We're not quite halfway there yet, but Wycombe have gone up to 7th today. So this one's on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's on. I mean, you got to believe it's on as well. I mean, I think we got a good group, and it's better when everyone's fit. It might be harder for people to get in the team, but you want those kind of decisions to make, and it's just better when everyone's fit, really.
We've all struggled with the weather and the conditions this week. What's it been like? Because I know the training's been disrupted.
Yeah, I mean, it's been freezing. It's so cold, but it's part of it, you know what I mean? You know, every December, November, it's going to be freezing. So you just got to deal with it and just crack on, really.
And what's this next couple of weeks look like now for professional footballer? Because we know that the games, they come thick and fast now, don't they? Boxing Day, they're not many days, long trip to Plymouth, then Peterborough. How do you prepare for that?
I think you just got to take it game by game. I mean, obviously, we played today. Next focus is Bristol Rovers on Boxing Day. And then after that, we'll focus on Plymouth. So just take it week by week, game by game.
A goal now gets you in the groove. Bristol Rovers, your former club?
Yeah, my former club. Obviously, I want to keep scoring regardless of who I'm playing against. So I just want to go on a nice little run, and I'll do everything I can do to get there.
Good stuff. Oh, happy Christmas, Brandon.
Merry Christmas too, thank you.
Great to hear from Brandon, obviously someone that we don't hear from too often, and as you say, great for him to get a goal after quite a period without scoring as well. And as you say, this period that we're going into now, it feels almost like a cliche, doesn't it, to say how important the festive period is, but taking on a team like Bristol Rovers first, who are in and around Wycombe in the table, and then a trip to Plymouth, who in a similar situation to Ipswich as well.
Yeah, Wycombe Wanderers, Bristol Rovers, regardless of what the league table says, is always a spicy fixture because of recent and not so recent history. But I think they've done incredibly well to come back out of League Two in recent times. An amazing promotion on the final day of the season last season, and they've really picked up where they left off. And they started the season a bit like Wycombe, they had a sticky start. But they've really sort of come to the fore again. They've had big players coming back from injury. They've got some really good loanee acquisitions. So I guess it'll be key if they can keep hold of some of those in January as well, if they're going to kick on. But they're 1 point behind Wycombe going into Boxing Day. They'll be looking at the top six and thinking, well, why not? We're in the right position. We're a bit under the radar. No one's really talking about us in a footballing sense. And Joe Barton's been there and done it before with Fleetwood at League One, took them to the playoffs, and unfortunately for them, they fell against Wycombe Wanderers in that 2020. But yeah, so Joey Barton knows what it's all about in League One, and it'll be interesting to see what happens on Boxing Day, because I think it's going to be a stern test for Wycombe Wanderers and also Bristol Rovers, two form teams going at it on a festive fixture. Bit of spice with the history as well. It's all set to be a Christmas cracker, Colin, and I do not apologise for that joke.
Please don't, and I do hope that your tie will make a festive return as well.
I don't like wearing a tie unless I'm going to a wedding or a funeral. I mean, Boxing Day, I'm not sure. Possibly, we'll see.
And as well, something really nice that we had the 3 clean sheets in the last games. And does it really feel now something's starting to click with the injured players coming back as well?
Yeah, Josh Gowan in front of a back four. Jack Grimmer back to his best. Alfie Mawson, well, he's just been excellent since he's come back and is continuing to be fit and raring to go, which is a joy to see. Ryan Tafazoli missed out due to illness, so hopefully he's back in contention as well, because now we're starting to see the squad coming to the fore too. But yeah, I think the big one was Josh Gowan really when he came back and has just added that bit of tenacity in midfield. And it allows the likes of Lewis Wing to kind of start picking passes as well. So yeah, I think really good to see. And the switch round against Pompey when Brandon Hanlon came up and led the line, that seems to have caught a few people by surprise. The sort of people who come on and do interviews and say, oh, we know what we're going to get when you're playing up against Wycombe, the big target man, long ball, etc. And they've been a bit surprised because it's been more about Gareth McCleary, Anis Vermetti and Brandon Hanlon of late. And Vokesy off the bench, wonderful option, but he's going to be chomping at the bit to get himself back in the starting lineup as well. So great position for Gareth Ainsworth to be in, difficult decisions, lots of options for him. And hopefully, he's been saying it for a little while, the second half of the season, he was predicting big things. I'm hoping he's right.
And something a bit special about Boxing Day football at Adams Park as well.
Yeah, Boxing Day is a wonderful tradition, isn't it? Everyone's been cooped up inside with their relatives, having a great time, and then they think, right, Boxing Day, let's go and get some fresh air, let's get down to football. Take the family with you, of course. Bring everybody. It'd be a wonderful time, Adams Park. So yeah, Boxing Day football, wonderful. Bristol Rovers will travel well. They always do. Should be a cracking atmosphere. And hopefully 3 points for the Wycombe Wanderers home faithful. That would be a wonderful way to celebrate.
Well, wish you a happy Christmas and look forward to hearing the commentary on Boxing Day.
Yeah, we got Jasper Pattenden with us on Boxing Day as well, so that's going to be great. He made his debut last week, so yeah, it should be a great commentary on what will hopefully be a very good game.
Thank you so much, Lee, for your time.
Cheers, Colin. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Always enjoyable having Phil on the show, and as I say, he'll be bringing you the live commentary. And don't forget, if you want to hear in full those chats with the manager and Brandon Hanlon, or Brandon O'Hanlon as I call him earlier, then check out Wanderers TV.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show, Thursdays from 7.
106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll catch up with the new-ish Chief Executive of the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. That's Mark Gateskill. He'll be joined by Kirk Williams as well. Don't know why that's funny. But first, we'll continue our regular catch-up with a member of the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association. This, a former midfielder who played over 300 times at Lokes Park. Well, certainly for the club. Some of those weren't all at Lokes Park, obviously. Played in midfield, as I say, in the 60s / very early 70s. Played under 3 different managers. He is Barry Baker, and tells us about his earliest memories from the club, where just prior to joining, he was at Queen's Park Rangers.
I was amateur, and then the manager let me go because she said I was too small. But I was amateur anyway. And then I don't know how it came back. I got a letter that Wycombe Wanderers, Sutton, and Wharton Hersham were interested. And of course, I had no transport. I was 18. I thought Wycombe was the easiest, and I used to get a 441 bus that went from Wycombe. I lived in Slough then to Staines, and that's how I used to play. And it was like I used to work till 5:30. It was a Tuesday night game, get the bus to Wycombe, and then struggle to try and get the 9:15 or 10:10 bus home. So I think I played 1 or 2 reserve games, and I was lucky. I didn't realise, but it's in the programme. I made my debut in 1964 against Maidstone at Lokes Park, and we drew 1 each.
So what were your first impressions when you arrived at the club?
Well, I just loved it because I love football. See, I used to eat and sleep football. And we weren't coached, but it was just lovely, and the crowds were great, and the mates, and I just loved football. And as I said, I was there 7 years. I did like 348 games, but we're all amazed at the football, how when we first started, we had no subs. We had 11 blokes. And we didn't get injuries. I think in 7 years, I might have missed 8 games. And you could tackle then. The pitches weren't as good. So I just don't know why people get so many injuries. But anyway, I loved it at Wycombe. And what was also lovely, I think, being only 5'6" and the smallest player, at the end of the home game, used to get all the young lads come on, with a programme to get you to sign. And I didn't think till a few years ago, they used to come on every game. And I used to wait. If there was 50 or 100, I'd sign every one. So a fortnight later, when there was another home game, they would still come out with their programmes. And I'd sign right to the end because I thought they wanted it. But I wondered why that one programme sign wasn't enough. But they used to do it. Yeah, you felt, good. And the crowds was good, 2,000 or 3,000 even then.
And I bet you couldn't imagine that you'd been making over 300 appearances for the club either. 300.
I didn't realise, but I did. I should have got it, but there's a history of Wycombe Wanderers by a couple of blokes. I should have got it and I didn't, but then somebody won an eBay and got me. I think is it from 18 something or till 1960. But that's when I looked at the games, and I was amazed. But it was a game at Wycombe where they brought a lot of players back that had done a lot of games. And I think I might have been like 24th in the list of games, which is great. And we were introduced from a door into the Caledonian suite. and they said Barry Baker, 348 games, 12 goals, which was embarrassing, really, for half that, really. But I thought, apart from that, I know that when Brian Lee took over, because whatever, he used to say, at least I should have at least 4 shots a game, and he used to have goes at me for not shooting for goal. But if you look at the blokes I was playing with, Len Worley, Keith Samuels, Paul Bates, Tony Horsman, they scored, not that I didn't need to, but they scored the goals. It was just a fault in my game that, if I had my time again, I would have shot more. But also as well, when I first started out at QPR, I was a defensive midfield player. I just marked the best inside forward. And I've not been big head. I just found it easy because that's all I did. Got the ball, passed it to a player. But when I went to Wycombe, I went the other way. I started to be creative, and I should put through balls, and I used to enjoy it, But I loved my time there. It was heaven. Yeah.
You must have seen so many changes during your time at the club as well, and playing under different managers.
No, I played. I think Don Welsh took me there, but people say he was a bit mad. In a nice way, But we weren't coached, and then there was Brian Lee. But I think when Brian Lee came, he could replace nearly all the team he had, because I think he used to run Bisham Abbey, and a lot of the England amateurs in that train, he could get good players. And like you've got Keith Searle from Wheelstone, you got Larry Pritchard and an England centre-half from Sutton. So he got rid of us. That's fair enough. You're going to get the best team you can. And that's when I left in 1971, that's when they won the league, which is the last year I was there, but he could get the players. But I was a bit choked, but at the end of the day, you move on. But after that, I did nothing. I had 2 spells at Maidenhead, 2 at Marlow, and 1 at Windsor, and I didn't play the same football I played at Wycombe, but that's life. I just like the good life. I just like to go out for a drink, and that was my downfall, I think, near the end. Not that I was alcoholic, but I just shouldn't have been out drinking before a football match. There we are.
Different times.
Yeah. And then, to be honest, I played for the county, which is I played for the Bucks and Bucks, I think, over 10 times, which was nice. Got picked, and then I captained the south of England against the north of England at the old Ayresome Park, Middlesbrough. And my relations come from County Durham, and they came down, and I had a stinker. And what was great, they don't mix their words. They didn't just say nothing. They said to me, "You were useless." But there we are. And then I also played for the FA 11 against the British Army. And, so I had a fair few honours, and I love my time at Wycombe. And I love going back now. And it's lovely is occasionally, because a few people still know me, but they've got to be over 60. But it's lovely that sometimes they'll stop you. We'll have a chat, and they've been watching Wycombe, say, for 60 years, which is absolutely brilliant,
There must be something really special about, as you say, be someone reminding you of a game that they watched that you played particularly well in, for example.
I think it was 1966. We played Bedford, and they were in the Southern League. And we played, I think, 4 games. Then you play to a result, and I've got nothing wrong with that now. I think it's great. But I know that we were in the press. The Daily Mirror had a photograph in there about the game, and I was in the background. And also, you might remember there was a newspaper. I don't know if it was the Herald, but there was a newspaper. It's folded now, but it was a national newspaper. And there was a gentleman that wrote about the game called Clement Freud, who was well known. He went on to be an MP, but he was writing about the game, and he would have a paragraph talking about Wycombe. The next paragraph was like a nuclear war or something. Then he went back to Wycombe, and he went on, with writing on 2 completely different things. And at the end, he said something like, these 2 teams have played 400, 500 minutes of football, and he said that they've got as much chance of winning as I go at the moon. But it was great. It was just, he wrote about 2 different things, but it was lovely in the press. It was nice to read.
And something else which really stands out from speaking to other players from your era at the club, and obviously the fact that you're still in touch now, is how well you all got on.
Oh, yeah. I had a friend, one of my best friends, who died about 7 years ago. His son didn't have many friends. And he said, the thing was, if you'd have played football, you'd have still friends for life. And I had my 2 best friends, they both died within the last 4 years, is due to football. And it's due to keeping them. And you get camaraderie, and there's people, you've known for life. And that's through football at any level. And you can't beat it. You know, your mates, like I used to play on a Sunday, and it was lovely to go in the pub after the game when it was only over 2 hours, have a shandy and a good banter, you know, and as I said, it's lovely now. I'm with 3 players that come regular that I've known since 1964, which is brilliant, yeah.
And it must be incredible for you to see the team now compared to, you know, when you played as well.
Well, I'm glad I played when I did, because I didn't kick with my left foot. Terrible. But then, because we had 5 forwards, you used all the pitch, you know, so you had nobody, you know, like all 10 went over together or whatever, or 20. So I could get it onto my right foot. But if I'd have had a left foot, I'd have been even better. But if I run a team now, there are people in all professional, all levels, that are only one-footed. But if I run a team, they wouldn't. Pre-season, I'd have them in the gym and they'd play with 2 feet. I've got 2 grandsons, one still playing it, and he's kicking with both feet because I made him do it. And you've got, where you haven't got so much room, you know, it's good. But I prefer watching Wycombe. I don't like Premier football. I can't stand 20 passes at the back and getting nowhere. Wycombe just go up, 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 and have a go. And I didn't like it to start with, but now I much prefer it. You know, we know what we're good at, and we'll have a go at it. Yeah.
So what would you say is so special about the club? Because so many people, you know, have such a special place in their heart for it.
Well, I don't know. I suppose every player that plays for a club, I would have thought that's their club. But something about Wycombe, I think, because it was a big side in Bucks, not big, that I wouldn't have felt anything different against a smaller club. But it's just, you know, I think the fans have always been brilliant. They very rarely boo the side. You know, there's lots of people that have supported for 60 years. You know, there's just, and it's a small club because, you know, 5,000 people. But it's your club. And, you know, it's always been my club. And I'm so pleased that I've gone back, you know, like I didn't go back for 30-odd years. And then I go back now and I love it. And even if we have a bad day, I've still enjoyed the day. You know, it's a day with friends. A win's a bonus, but the rest of it's a banter and we can criticise or whatever. But it's just a wonderful day out.
And tell us a bit more about what you're doing after your time at the club. You were saying you were at Maidenhead and Marlow for a bit.
Yeah, I had a spell at Maidenhead for 30-odd games and I played terrible and they let me go. I went to Marlow and I didn't think I did too bad. And I was at Marlow when we played Maidenhead again in a friendly or something. And Maidenhead had a new manager and I must have played well in the game because he asked me would I go. So I went back again and played 30 or 40 games and then left. Then I went back to Marlow and then I was finding it in my 30s because of the lifestyle I think they have now, their diets and everything. I was struggling to do it, but I did play local football as well, and I played till I was 42 and still could play a good Sunday side. And then I refereed for 10 years because I was very critical of referees. So I thought I'll have a go. And I used to be very sympathetic to referees, but I think in our league we have some very poor referees. If you take when we got into the Championship, we played, I remember we played Watford at home. And we had a little bloke up front, he was only about 5'8", and the goalie leant over him and we scored. And he gave a foul against the goalkeeper, which he shouldn't have done, against our player. So we lost 2 points. We had another game where we were offside and we were on and we weren't. There were about 3 games. If we'd have got them points, we'd have stayed up. And it's absolutely embarrassing, you know, the decisions. I can go 50-50, but referees cost us that league, in my opinion. There we are.
It's really interesting, someone who's actually refereed as well, because obviously you're well placed to be able to, you know, sort of analyse, you know, their performance.
Well, I used to, when I refereed, I go to Sunday, but when the people mark you, you know, a referee's never going to be the winner. You know, if you do your job, you expect it. You're not going to say, oh, what a wonderful referee, like you would a player. But when we had a Sunday, the top 3 referees marked were all ex-players. And I think, you know, I know when a bloke's gone in to take a bloke out. I know when a bloke's just a little bit late, you know, and I don't think many of these referees have played the game, and that's my opinion. You know, I'm not saying all referees that haven't played are bad, but I think if you played the game, you know what's going on.
And obviously the Ex-Player Association is something that you know, a big advocate of as well.
I'm surprised we don't get more, but of course I suppose in the professional side, a lot of them won't live in Wycombe now. If you're living, say, in Leicestershire, you're not going to come down. But the ones that do, the four of us, it's just lovely. The older you get, you appreciate little things that when you're younger, they just go by, But so like Keith and Vinny, I always thank them, they've got to get this done, that done. It might only sound easy, but if they didn't do it, we wouldn't have an association. And they're really into it, and I appreciate them so much, just doing the basics and keeping it together, and it's lovely.
Well, it's been brilliant to speak to you and share your memories. Thank you very much, Steve, for your time.
Lovely, thank you.
Pleasure to speak to Barry Baker, of course, who's a former midfielder at Wycombe Wanderers, and big thanks as always to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, who I'm sure you'll agree have provided, if that's the right word, some fantastic guests in 2022. Really enjoyed chatting to players from all sorts of different eras, and this may not surprise you, but there's more to come.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show, Thursdays from 7.
106.6 FM.
Still to come, we'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth, who has a Christmas message for for fans as well. Luke's been providing sound effects on backing vocals this evening.
You're welcome.
Just quickly as well, can you give us some insight, like you did earlier, about some of the great things that happened to you at Adams Park this week?
I had a nice catch-up with Mr. Matt Cecil of Head of Media and Mr. Phil Catchpole of Everything Else, and actually had a nice drink, which was very nice. I held a camera. Me and Phil spoke about an old tea urn that he should take back to the Bill Turnbull gantry. And yeah, it was a very good day. Nice. It's actually quite nice to see Adams Park all snowy.
Brilliant insight. More from Luke on future episodes of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. That sort of insight you can't get anywhere else.
You'd probably get better insight somewhere else.
As I say, more from the manager in a few moments' time as well. But first, I'm very pleased to bring you some more information about the recently renamed Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. We'll hear from Kirk in a few moments' time. But first, Mark, who's the newly appointed Chief Executive.
Hi, Colin. Thanks for the invite. It's been a whirlwind. I've completed nearly 3 months already, which has gone really quickly. But yeah, so I'm the new chief exec at Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, formerly WWSET. Yeah, interesting journey. So I mean, coaching's my background. So I began as a coach at two good clubs, Southampton Football Club, and had some time at Fulham before heading off abroad. This is the short version of the story. Went out to the Middle East and thought I'd stay 1 or 2 years, and stayed 11 years over in the UAE, in Dubai, and sort of had shifted across from coaching to kind of sports business. Did my master's degree as part of my transition back to the UK, and a 10-month search for the right opportunity led me to Wycombe Wanderers and into the foundation. So yeah, look, it's been a really great first 3 months. Very fortunate, and I'm not just saying that because he's next to me, to inherit a really great team of people, just fantastic people across the board, and a great sort of base to build from. So, the foundation was already doing some really great things. For me, it was a question of how can we grow and improve what we're doing, and part of that was sort of our rebrand, which I'm sure we'll come on to, and we've got lots of new exciting projects happening as well.
So for people that don't know, what is the foundation and what do you do?
Yeah, so the foundation is the charitable arm of the football club. So, the football club is our kind of key partner, key vehicle. It's the brand, it's the identity, it's what people engage with. People are, particularly in the Wycombe community, obviously have close links to their local football club, and we're their charitable arm. So our kind of key objective is to deliver programmes to ultimately benefit the community.
And it really feels like I'm sure since your short time at the club, it really feels like a real kind of family, and just the local area, how what you do brings people together. Yeah,
honestly, I think we said this in a post yesterday. Lots of clubs say, "Oh, we're a family club," and I think it's easy to say that, but harder to consistently prove that, I guess. But that was my impression of Wycombe before I came on board. I'd had and gone through some interview processes at other clubs, and yeah, I felt that from Wycombe from the outside, and I felt that through the interview process, and then I felt that instantly when I joined the club. I was invited very quickly into lots of different committees, sort of the safeguarding committee at the club. We have an EDI committee. And yeah, I was invited and integrated into what are two separate entities. Yes, we're very closely linked and we're part of the football club, but we are also our own entity. But it doesn't feel that way. You know, we had some of the ex-players sort of donate some money, which again, I'm sure we'll come on to talk to. So I had some ex-players down at the foundation yesterday, and I was dealing with various people at the club. So it's very well integrated and is one big family, yeah.
Tell us a bit about yourself and your role in the foundation.
So I've been working at Wycombe Wanderers Foundation now for many years. My current role is that I'm head of sports participation. So I overlook sort of two key areas of the organisation. We have our Elite Development Academy, where we work with gifted and talented players that may be attached to junior football clubs. And our aim is to try and challenge and stretch them, get them training on a regular basis with like-minded players, and for them to be the very best we can, or the very best they can be. So on average, we probably work with about 450 players on a weekly basis. These range from under 6 all the way through to under 16s, and that's boys and girls. And with the help of our sort of professional coaching team, who are very enthusiastic, we work with these players on a weekly basis for 40 weeks of the year, training with us during the evenings, and then playing games versus professional football clubs during the school holidays. You know, we like to help our community, and the way we definitely help our community there is obviously working with these talented young players, but also making them the best they can be for their junior football clubs. So we work well together there.
It must be so rewarding both for yourself and your team to see these youngsters develop as well.
I've got to say, it's the highlight of our day, going out and delivering from 5 till 7 most evenings with these young players. They're very enthusiastic, great to work with. But we have many success stories. So we do have players there that outgrow what we do, and then they get the opportunity to get signed up with a professional academy. Some players go off to Category 1 clubs like Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham. So that's very rewarding to see.
And Mark, those sort of stories must, come across in many aspects of what the foundation does.
Yeah, I mean, we've got success stories across. We have 4 departments. Kirk's talked about success stories. The nice thing is we've got success stories of very differing levels. For instance, I was out earlier this week delivering Christmas presents around Wycombe, so that was really satisfying. That supporting the Chiltern Toy Bank and providing sort of Christmas presents to needy families across the community, and the response and the reaction at the door when you're supporting and helping someone gives us a really great feeling, and that's very different to a success story of a player being signed at Chelsea, but equally satisfying.
There's such a range of people and sort of challenges that you can help people with as well.
Yeah, across any given week, we're on a football pitch. We're in an allotment. We're doing some skateboarding. We're delivering presents. We're in the office. It's I think it's sort of the best of both worlds. Often people within sort of community football programs are passionate football, passionate sports people, and they want to be around that football environment, but actually we're also just helping people and delivering programs that benefit the community kind of in a real wide-ranging spectrum, and it's really, really satisfying.
And people can benefit both physically and mentally from being involved with the work that you do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our 4 departments, would probably highlight that. We've got sports participation, which, again, as it sounds, is providing those sporting opportunities for not just talented children, but for anyone that's wanting to take part in sort of sports activities. We've got an education department, so we work very closely with schools. We've got an inclusion and cohesion department, so we do a variety of different programs within there, including sort of a refugee skateboarding program, which again is really satisfying. Not my sport, so I haven't taken part in that one just yet. And then we've got a health and wellbeing program. So again, it's really wide ranging, and in that department, our colleague Simon is at a cookery course today in prep for a new project, and he's on the allotment with his Keep Moving Forward program. We do a wellbeing walk. So yeah, it's really, really wide ranging, the people that we're able to support and help. And
initiatives like Chairboys Chat as well, which is something which is a fantastic idea and really sort of inclusive as well.
Yeah, look, I think obviously mental health awareness is very prominent at the moment, and rightly so. And we feel the football club provides a great platform to engage and help with particularly on a male mental health levels. So Chairboys Chat is a men's mental health program that tries to engage with men from the Wycombe kind of supporter group to come into the stadium after games and talk about a wide range of issues, from absolutely anything that they might like to talk about. So yeah, it's great to be able to support lots of different people.
And Kirk, I'm sure with what you do as well, it's not just the actual football itself. The youngsters have other kind of challenges that you can provide support for as well.
I'd just like to go into a little bit more detail in terms of what else we do. Obviously, I mentioned there about the gifted and talented players we work with through the EDA, but within the sports participation team, we have some great staff who work full time with us, who go out and engage with many different groups throughout the week. So their sort of typical day will be they go and work in schools and deliver PE sessions. So it gives them gives the participants the opportunity to have a professional coach coming in during the school day and delivering football activities, as well as maybe upskilling the teachers they're working alongside. And then we would stay on and do after school clubs within the school. So again, we're working with children that may play for junior football clubs and want to learn a few more skills, flicks and tricks, but also gives them an opportunity with their experience to be leaders with their peers. But also it's an introduction to football for some of our participants, maybe never even thought of playing football before, and it might be their first introduction to sport and football on an after school club. And like I mentioned before, then our coaches would go on and deliver within the sort of the EDA programme during the evening. Also, we deliver sort of a Saturday morning club, and again, this is more again for an introduction to football. So some of the children we work with there are maybe aged 4 and 5 and never even thought about playing football before. So it's a great opportunity for them to come and enjoy the beautiful game.
And obviously, not just the sport itself. There's the other skills that you pick up, the challenges, the team working, the social side of it as well.
Yeah, without a doubt, obviously communication, the social skills are very important. They learn leadership and fair play, as well as just an opportunity for some fun and enjoyment. Very much so.
Mark, it really shows that sort of football's not just football, isn't it? That it's kind of the centre, but so many other sort of great stuff can come from it.
Yeah, look, football's one of our key vehicles, but it's one of many. We've mentioned some as we've been talking, but and obviously the link to the football club is the identity, the brand, the colour. People associate with their local football club, but I think they often are surprised at the number of different activities that the foundation is actually doing, and I think that's a good thing.
And a fantastic link, as you say, to the community, and great that people can get involved in so many different ways other than just coming and watching the football, and can benefit from so many other ways too, even on a match day as well. Yeah,
look, I think since we've come in, we're very much about collaboration, and we're actually working with various different community groups to work together, because obviously we've got a certain skill set, and actually there are lots of other charities that are doing great things, and to us is why not work together, and we can help more people. So yeah, we've got some exciting projects coming up, and a number of those are in collaboration with other partners and charities. So yeah, it's exciting times.
And we'll be hearing more about those projects on a future edition of the show with Mark and Kirk from the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. Sat next to Mark at the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association dinner. So just goes to show, if you sit next to me at a meal event, you could well be on the show. Finally, for this week, we'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth. We'll look ahead to the visit of Bristol Rovers. But first, a fantastic victory against who were then top of the table, Ipswich Town, at Adams Park last Saturday.
I thought first half it was great. We watched the first half again, and I thought that the way we played and the way we got up Ipswich was very good. So some chances in the first half like they had, but then second half we made the decision to sit back and let them have the ball, because they were changing formation. I had to change formation a couple of times to counter that, but we sat back in and defended everything that they chucked at us. I felt that it was the right time, and the form we're in at the moment, the clean sheets. I thought it was the right time to soak some pressure up and maybe catch them on the counter, which didn't happen a great deal. But the main thing was we got the goal, and the boys defended really well, and all for one brilliant save at the end from Max. I don't think they threatened us really too much in that game, and that's testament for all the work rate of all the players that played that game.
And as you say, the soaking up of the pressure, something else which really pleased you as well.
Yeah, we've done it before. We call it our deep press, and we've done it in various games. It's often paid off for us as well. You know, there's a couple of times where I can remember it hasn't paid off. Norwich at home, I think, and Sunderland away, just to name a couple. But MK Dons in the semi-final last year, that worked, and you know, Lincoln City a couple of years ago at home. You know, we've really got a knack to this soaking the pressure and actually having an attitude to go, right, yeah, we know they're going to come on at us, and you've got to soak it up. And I think we saw in the World Cup recently, a lot of teams did that. They played on the counter, you know, especially some of the smaller teams, and you know, your Morocco's and your Saudi Arabias and teams like that. They really sat in, and Japan's were you know, the masters of it, and they get great credit for it, whereas we seem to get stick sometimes saying we don't have any possession. But that's the way the world works, I suppose, and we'll surely get credit one day. But the only credit the boys need is the credit from me to say well done. They were excellent. They really were. The effort that they put in was superb, and I thought we could have played there for another half hour, and we've still, you know, had a nil against. It was that secure.
And you mentioned the clean sheets. Obviously, 3 games without conceding a goal again must be so pleasing for you. Yeah,
of course. You know, you automatically get points with clean sheets, and that's something we talk about. We got some proud defenders. Alfie Mawson coming in has really given us a new impetus at the back there. You know, even with Ryan Tafazoli ill at the weekend, Jack Grimm was slotting inside, and Jason McCarthy coming in at right back. We really worked well. So no, I'm pleased with the rotations we're doing, with the attitude we've got at the moment, and everything, you know, that's going on here. It's a nice place to be, and hopefully we can have a decent festive period, which is something that we have struggled with over the years, but we have a plan for that.
And great to have another home game on Boxing Day. You were saying, obviously, what great support against Ipswich and large numbers, and going to the bar afterwards, and the brilliant reception you got there. Yeah,
it was really nice. You know, it doesn't always happen. Obviously, after a defeat, it's very tough to do that, and after a win, it's easy. But it was nice to give Christmas Day with a win under the belt. You know, the boys can go and enjoy it. The fans can go and enjoy it, and we've got Bristol on Boxing Day, which, you know, feels like a sort of a different part of the season. You know, once you get past Christmas, and like I say, we've got 3 big games now coming up in 6 days, and we've got to be ready for them. But I'm sure Bristol will bring a bumper crowd, and hopefully the Wycombe fans will turn up with little else to do on Boxing Day, apart from nurse a few hangovers or work a bit of turkey off, get down Adams Park and watch the boys, because we're in a decent run of form at the moment, and I'm pleased with them.
It should be another great game as well, because obviously Rovers in a similar vein of form to Wycombe, and obviously just a point or two behind in the table as well.
No, listen, Joe's done a great job, really has, you know, and you know, he has his critics, he has his fans. I'm a fan. I think he speaks his mind, and he's not afraid to upset people, and I think that's a rarity now in the world. But he's definitely got Bristol Rovers in a good place. They're playing some good football. They're looking solid. They're scoring goals. And very similar to Wycombe, you know, we can't compete with these top teams in our league, but we can get those unbuyables that mean so much, and we make them count. And I'm sure it'll be a good game on Boxing Day.
And it really shows the sort of progress of the team as well, that, you know, where you are in the table currently, and, you know, recent results as well, just going into this, as you say, second half of the season with such optimism.
Yeah, I've always said that the second half will be stronger, because I know what we've got in the treatment room. I know what was coming back. Curtis Thompson, Chris Farino, Dominic Gabe, all back training now. You know, we have no injuries at the moment, which is great. You know, I'm sure that touch wood that we will try and not pick any up, but you know, it's football. You do get knocks and you do get whacks, and I'm sure that some more will come this season. But at the moment, I've got a pretty healthy squad to pick from, and as I said, if we can be in and around it by the end of the year, I'm sure we'll have a good second half of the season. I'm really looking forward to that now.
And just finally, do you have a Christmas message for the fans? You know, a bit like the Queen or King now, of course, on Christmas Day.
Definitely. Don't refer to me as Queen or King at all. I'm not nothing like that. But if I can put smiles on faces on a Saturday, then definitely helps the Christmas spirit. But I just want to say to all the Wycombe fans, thanks for your support as always. You know, it's fantastic, and we've got one more home game this calendar year. If you can get down and support us, and we'll see everyone back here for. Well, it's a couple of weeks after that, I think, for the Sheffield Wednesday game. You know, that's going to be huge. So, yeah, thank you for your support. I think 2022 has been a decent year for us. Somebody put something in front of me the other day saying we're in the top 20 of points gained clubs in the country out of the 92 clubs. And for me, that's real success for Wycombe Wanderers, and everyone's played their part. So thank you. Please get down Boxing Day, and everyone have a safe and Merry Christmas.
Great to have the message from the manager, and hopefully all 3 points again on Saturday when Bristol Rovers... Christmas Eve. No, Boxing Day. What's it called? What day is it? I've started already. There'll be between Christmas and New Year. Nobody will know what day it is. Boxing Day, of course, 3 o'clock kick-off at Adams Park, the visit of Bristol Rovers. And then we've got the trip to Plymouth on Thursday the 29th, but we'll speak to you before then. Have a great Christmas.